Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Jurnee Taylor. Here are the stories we're following right now. It's a big day at the state capitol. Groups working to get proposed amendments on the November ballot are turning in their signatures today. We've got a live update in less than 2 minutes. Plus, General Dynamics releasing new information about the explosion that happened at one of its Arkansas facilities. What we know now, still ahead. And if you're about to take a trip, a dreaded trip at that, through TSA checkpoint, we got some advice. We're sharing a few tips and tricks at 12:21. But first, we have to talk about this weather. First, it was hot. Then this morning, it was storming. Simone, what's next at this point?
You know, yesterday was real crispy outside with hot, steamy. I know it wasn't a fun time for anybody trying to spend the 4th outside. So as my way to make it up to y'all, I brought this cold front here today. Now, unfortunately, it did give us a eventful commute this morning for anybody that had to go back to work. But now that that front's been moving further south in the state, we're seeing those impacts as far as rainfall confined to the southern portions of the state. So right now we've got a storm developing along that Pike County, Clark County border, just southeast of, or southwest, forgive me, of the Arkadelphia area. Now, as we continue through the evening, we could continue to see spotty rain coverage across those southern counties. But as for central Arkansas and areas north, we're in the clear for the rest of the day. Now, I want to take you to this map. You can really see the difference in dew points to our northwest, dew points in the 50s, and to our southern counties, dew points in the middle 70s. So drier, cooler air is coming in time for the weekend. I'll give you an idea of how long that's looking to stick around in the 7-day outlook.
All right, Simone, thank you. Well, right now, after months of work, groups trying to get several proposed amendments on the November ballot are turning in their required signatures from voters. The issues range from changes to the Arkansas abortion law to updating the casino amendment passed in 2018. THV 11's Carter Thweet is live at the state capitol with more on the next steps in the process. Carter, what are you seeing happening?
Well, Jurnee, the thing that I have noticed the most today has been the activity. The deadline is today at 5 p.m. and because of that, there's been so much going on here today on the second floor of the Capitol. We've already seen 2 petitions turned in. Those are the ones relating to the casino amendment as well as the medical marijuana amendment. And it really is as simple as just guys with moving carts coming up here, bringing boxes of signatures and leaving them for the Arkansas Secretary of State's office. And obviously, with 90,000 signatures needed on most of these, they're bringing a lot. I've seen carts stacked as high as 6 boxes. But it's not just those moving companies and petition organizers that are here today. There's also been workers from the Secretary of State's office, and they're ready to start on counting and verifying these signatures. I was able to learn more about that today talking with the press secretary from the Arkansas Secretary of State's office. He told me about that process and how it could look.
There are criteria that have to be met for that. They have to notarize their petitions, and we do scanning and copying and all of these things to, so that the workers can have them to work on and mark up next week.
And we will be here all day today as other petitions are turned in. In particular, we're expecting the abortion amendment signatures in the next hour or 2, and the others, again, all have to be turned in here by 5 p.m. That is the deadline. But we're going to keep you updated. But for now, I'm Carter Thweet, THV 11 News. Jurnee, sending it back to you.
All right, Carter, just a couple hours left. Thank you. Well, new at noon, officials with General Dynamics sharing new information about this week's explosion at its facility near Hampton. We can now confirm that 1 person was killed in that incident on Wednesday. As for the 2 other people that were hurt, one was airlifted to an out-of-state hospital. The other was released from a hospital in Camden. General Dynamics is now working with authorities and regulatory agencies to find out what caused the explosion. Fire officials in Little Rock are investigating an overnight fire at a lawnmower repair shop. The fire department tells us the flames started just before 11:30 last night at the Cleve Addy Lawnmower Repair. Crews worked through the night to get the fire under control. Our team is following the investigation, and of course, we'll have more tonight at 5 and 6. Arkansas State Police need your help finding the person responsible for a hit-and-run death in Jefferson County. It happened late Wednesday night, and according to ASP, 19-year-old Kaylee Owen of Bentonville was reportedly running from the woods and into the road along Interstate 530 when she was hit and killed. Investigators are now looking for a red Honda with damage to the front passenger side. Anyone with information is asked to call state police. And the shooting death of a Little Rock child is now being investigated as a homicide. Yesterday, police told us officials or officers responded to an accidental shooting that sent the child to the hospital. They're now confirming that the victim, who was 3, died from their injuries. We're following this story and we'll share more details as they're released. The former owner of the troubled Little Rock apartment complex, Big Country Chateau, has pleaded guilty to fraud. Last month, Aaron Peretz and his Apex Equity Group reached a deal with federal prosecutors, admitting to a scheme that inflated the sale price of the Colonel Glenn complex and other properties. A release from the U.S. Attorney said the conspiracy amounted to $54.7 million in fraud. While Peretz used the complex as part of his scheme, the apartments became run down and dangerous. The city has worked to relocate tenants after a judge forced the property into receivership. Well, 2 weeks have now passed since the tragic shooting at a Fordyce grocery store that killed 4 people and injured 10 others. As the community continues to heal, a big fundraiser is happening this weekend. The Flaming Pig, a popular food truck in South Arkansas, is cooking up pulled pork sandwiches for donations, all to benefit the families affected. It's happening tomorrow from 10 until 2, right next to the Mad Butcher at 4th and Egger Streets. Organizers say they're hoping for a huge turnout. It's a big day for President Joe Biden's campaign. He's holding a campaign rally and will sit for a network television interview as he tries to fend off growing calls to drop out of the presidential race following his dismal debate performance last week. Erica Brown tells us why today is expected to be a pivotal one for the president.
While the crowd outside the White House chanted 4 more years during last night's fireworks show, President Biden's political future could hinge on what happens today as he campaigns in battleground Wisconsin and sits for a television interview following his poor debate performance.
Where Joe Biden struggled last week is he lost the thread, he lost the focus on making it a choice between Donald Trump and Joe Biden in terms of what future do you want? And I think that's what Joe Biden and Democrats are going to need to get back to.
On Thursday, Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton became the 3rd House Democrat to publicly urge the president to withdraw.
Now is the time for him to follow in one of our founding father, George Washington's footsteps, and step aside to let new leaders rise up and run against Donald Trump.
CBS News has learned the president told governors in a Wednesday night meeting he needs to curtail events that begin after 8 p.m. and get more sleep, according to meeting participants. And California Governor Gavin Newsom, who was there, pledged his support.
There was no one that walked out of that and say, "We've got your back, Mr. President." No one.
But Democratic voters in key battleground states are concerned.
I think he's done a good job, but it's time that he stepped down for sure.
The Biden-Harris campaign released a new plan Friday, which includes $50 million in campaign ads and an aggressive travel schedule to each battleground state to try to shore up support. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
The president's rally today in Madison, Wisconsin comes less than 2 weeks before Trump is expected to be nominated in Milwaukee at the Republican National Convention. In other news, the job market remains healthy, but a new report shows unemployment has climbed to 4.1%. A little over a year ago, it was at an all-time low of 3.4%. Experts say other parts of the economy are also leveling. The U.S. gross domestic product, which measures the total output of goods and services, weakened in the first quarter. And recent data shows consumer spending is slowing and inflation is easing. And Hurricane Beryl is now taking aim at the Yucatan Peninsula and Mexico after hitting islands in the Caribbean. South Texas is also on watch for possible effects early next week. A voluntary evacuation order is in place for low-lying areas in and around South Padre Island. We're going to have more on its path and the damage it's leaving behind tonight at 5 and 6.
Well, aside from some spotty rain across southern Arkansas, central Arkansas is going to be quiet through the rest of the day. We're hanging out in the lower 90s throughout the weekend, and coming up after the break, I'll let you know how long we can enjoy this trend of relatively cooler temperatures.
Plus, summer days are heating up, and coming up, we'll show you ways to stay cool that you may think are just too simple to work, but it could save your life. We're back after this.